Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
He listens to Post Malone. He drives a Honda with ground effects and has Pennsylvania tattooed on his right tricep.
Looking at a bad man.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Radio Room, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. We've got Coach Andy Siegel, Coach Brian Haddad in the building. Miles Lashley is on the board. The trivia question is, when did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers join the NFL, or when they did join the NFL in 1976, what conference and division did they play in? This is for your chance to win that boot store gift card, Pepsi swag bag, and Buddy Gandy's. We also have some big information here with Bay County Youth Athletics.
Yeah, it just came out. I think it got announced yesterday. Our national champion from Mosley High School, Val Solorio, is going to wrestle on national TV in a national event called Who's Number One, and they pick 3 or 4 wrestlers, and they decide who's the number 1 wrestler in the nation. So for high school girls, she's going to wrestle a girl named Gabby Gomez out of Illinois, who's the world silver medalist. And they're going to wrestle to see who's the number 1 girl wrestler in the nation. And what's really neat about this is they've wrestled 3 times. Valerie beat her at nationals to win the national championship a year ago. Then they turned around and wrestled to make the world team. And Valerie was hurt going into that and lost two out of 3 matches to her by 1 point, 2 points max. So they're really, really tight matches these two have. It's a pretty good rivalry, and the neat thing is they're going to get after it in 3 weeks in Michigan, and it's going to be a war. I'll follow up and let you guys know how it goes, but I mean, our Mosley Bay County girl is going to whip up on a world silver medalist.
I love what we've got going on in this area, especially when it comes to the wrestling community. When we had Val on last time with us, that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me. Gulf Coast Grappling Academy, working with the high schoolers as well. Got a chance to be on a national broadcast. I think that's absolutely amazing. Did you say we have a caller on? Okay,
we don't. That guy had the wrong number.
Okay, he had the wrong number. 850-215-6290 is the correct number. We're still looking for 3 fantasy footballers out there. It's free entry. All you got to do is be out Dave & Buster's August 20th from 11 a.m. It'll run to about 2 to 3 p.m. It should be a great time. What are you grinning about over there, Miles?
Nothing.
All right. Brian, looks like you got something ready to go.
I got a buddy of mine who texted me the right answer, but I'm trying to get him to call in and do it over the air.
You know what? If he doesn't call in, I'll accept. All
right.
I'll do a.
He was right. And he gave the record. Of course, that wasn't hard to figure out.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
So what is the correct answer, Brian, and who do we got?
The correct answer from my friend Richard Sanders over at the TDC, and maybe this is him calling.
Hold on now. Yeah, because we got to see here, because I got to give it to on air over just a text. I rarely accept text messages for winning. But we'll let Miles talk about that. We're also going to get into what's the latest and greatest thing happening here with college football. And the CFP and their board have discussed the potential of restructuring how college football is governed, something that's been on the horizon here for a little bit. Do you guys got any thoughts on that?
We were reading it during one of the last segments. I don't know all the implications to it yet. But when they talk about taking football out of the governing structure of the NCAA,
that's what I'm talking about.
But my point is, I don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean it's now out of the Title IX consideration, at least in terms of scholarship? That is earth-shattering.
And remember the other part, the funding.
Right.
So is football no longer funding our non-revenue sports? How does that look? That's crazy.
I don't know that that's what's involved. So that's what's hard, is knowing that. But it would mean, at least in terms of certain rules that are levied by the NCAA, they would not be, basically the way that they put it, it wouldn't be governed, let's say, by the smaller schools. I don't know. There's a lot to figure out here, but it's certainly interesting, and it's certainly something we saw coming. It's just finally actually being discussed.
And I'll just say, now that I'm not at an NCAA institution and can speak freely out of communist bloc, that so the stupid rule like today when it's thunder and lightning and I'm driving down the street and I see an athlete walking down the street, I wouldn't get in trouble for picking them up and giving them a ride because it's a unfair benefit. That's what they said.
How insane is that?
That's what I'm talking. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Or little Johnny's mom passed away and you can't give him money to go to the funeral. Come on now.
Yeah.
So that's why some of those rules do need to go. And I can say it now. And got some people probably trying to get me, but I'm not coaching college ball, so hey, whatever.
It is what it is. He'll have to change his semantics when he gets back into college football. We do got a caller on the line. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I don't know what happened, Miles. We're still learning the phone hybrid. We got a new Austin Siegel.
Hey, you remember when you know what I'm about to tell the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
You had taught Austin how to do the board. And
No.
It wasn't you?
I came after Austin, actually.
Okay, so Austin's working the board. My son, the genius 4.0 guy. And when the people are live on the microphone, unfortunately, Austin left a hot mic going on during a break, and there were some interesting things.
Hey, sometimes Coach Hale and the gang say it all the time on here as well. Sometimes if these mics could be on, what happens in the breaks, people would be like, "Oh man, why aren't we running that during the show?"
No, they wouldn't. They'd be calling the police.
Well, it happened.
Depends on which show you're talking about.
You said the morning.
Don't forget that you can listen to the Coach James Hale Show live Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. And you were actually on the Coach James Hale Show this morning, running it by yourself. I can only imagine how tough that is.
I was in here with all my friends. That's for certain.
All right, so we do have a caller on line one. I believe it's Richard. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What do you got for my answer for me? What when the Bucs joined the NFL in '76, what conference and division did they play in?
Well, my name is Al, and the answer is NFC West.
That's correct.
That is actually not correct. They were in the West. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you, bud.
Oh, okay.
All right. I guess do we have someone online too? All right, I'm still all right. We got a heavy training session
today too.
We got a heavy training session tomorrow, Miles. A heavy training session on the phone hybrid.
It looks like Star Wars with all the lights going.
No, it really is. It's a little bit of a. It's not complicated, but once you do it a couple of times, so make sure if you're answering on line 2, you put them on line 2 over there.
I'm sure this lightning isn't helping.
Oh no doubt. I'm just giving Miles a hard time because I love the guy.
Richard already won.
Okay, Richard already won. Trivia's over, and Richard Sanders just won not but that boot store, Pepsi swag bag, and a gift certificate to Buddy Gandy. So apparently this meeting today only lasted for about 5 minutes. The conversation is significant, they're saying, but I still think that we're a ways away from this. I think the biggest thing is we've got Rob Manfred, right, commissioner of the MLB, kind of clownish, or at least gets called a clown a lot because it seems like he cares more about what the owners have going than what is best for the sport of baseball. That's what I'm worried about for a commissioner of college football. Is it going to be headed in the same direction that it already is, all about money, or are we going to do what's best for the game? We've got to take a break. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up here in the next segment, we've got Sam Peebles. We'll be talking some Atlanta Braves. If you got any questions, text them over 850-215-6290 or follow us on Facebook, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and staff meteorologist Tim Root for up-to-the-minute weather reports all day long.
Moving northwestward into the Gulf of Mexico by the weekend.
In-depth storm coverage.
Gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Isolated showers and thunderstorms this afternoon around the listening area. Partly sunny in the low 90s and the winds west-southwest 10 miles per hour. Water temperature in the Gulf 87. Showers and thunderstorms partly cloudy in the mid-70s overnight. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms Thursday into Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Mothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Powered by Pepsi, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the cooling season, and time to call Steverson Air Conditioning for your preventative maintenance to keep your air conditioning system operating at full capacity. Steverson Air Conditioning has preventative maintenance programs, and they service all makes and models. Steverson Air Conditioning offers air duct cleaning. Steverson Air Conditioning has after-hours service and free estimates on a system change-out or duct cleaning. Call them at 248-1109.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, we're back, and we are in hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Coach Andy Siegel, Coach Brian Haddad, and Miles Lashley on the ones and the twos. And the Braves, man, they had a bad little series up there in New York against the Metropolitans, dropping 4 of 5. But now we're here in Atlanta for a 4-game set, and we took the first 2. Sam Peebles, welcome in. He is the host and creator of the Braves Dugout Podcast. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, I am doing fantastic. How about that Charlie Morton outing last night, and then with Olsen with the Jimmy Jack on top of the Chop House? Give me your thoughts on the series to this point.
Oh, it's been amazing. The guys that need to perform have absolutely performed. Of course, the first 2 games of the season were the ones that the Braves had the highest likelihood of winning. You know, with the Mets having not pitched their 2 best starting pitchers yet, but that's okay. Charlie Morton came out and performed just like we hoped that he would when he signed that contract at the beginning of the year. I mean, in his last 11 starts, he's had a 2.88 ERA. When his first 12 starts of the season, his ERA was like 5.6 or something like that. He's been pitching lights out lately, and Matt Olson is finally, catching his stride. And, the entire team has just stepped up this series. It looks like a completely different series. Braves are hot. The Mets are not. Only 3.5 games back. This has been an awesome series so far.
Yeah, and you got 2 games left to go, so we could potentially get to within 1.5 games, and the month of September is going to be nothing but a wild ride. Now, tonight, you got Mad Max Scherzer on the bump for the Metropolitans and Jake Odorizzi going for the Bravos. What do you expect out of this pitching duel?
Obviously, Max Scherzer has a massive up on Odorizzi. I mean, Max Scherzer is probably going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer type pitcher, and he's still pitching like it. Fortunately, the Braves, not this year so much, but last year and the year before, have fared well against Max Scherzer, and I say that lightly in the sense of no one really fares well against him, but if someone was, they're one of the better teams to do it. And Odorizzi really, across social media, a lot of Braves fans don't like Odorizzi just because his first start, he gave up 2 runs like in the first few innings, and so there's been a lot of hate towards him. But the guy was an all-star in 2019. He's got down Cy Young votes before. And this year he's been pitching 7% better than league average. So it's not like the Braves are throwing out their worst starter out there that's just some innings eater against Max Scherzer. I think that the Mets will probably score some on him, and the Braves might have to beat the Mets in their bullpen. So it's really going to come down to how quick can the Braves get Max Scherzer off the bump and bring in the bullpen, and if Odorizzi can keep the runs low enough that the Braves can catch back up.
Now, Double-A is at it again. We talked about the numbers, what was it, last week? 10 years, $212 million for Austin Riley. You got Matt Olson, 8 years, $168 million. Ronald Acuna, $100 million. Ozzie Albies, $35 million. And now you're locking up Michael Harris, who is just incredible out there in the outfield, and the bat is surprising as well. 8 years, $72 million. It almost feels like the Atlanta Braves are playing a little franchise mode on MLB The Show with the way that they're getting these players for such a bargain deal.
Right, and I do think that you're going to see a new wave of a lot of teams kind of following suit, because guys like Michael Harris, they're extremely talented, but there is a slight gamble on the Braves. You don't know how he's going to perform in 8 years. However, if he does happen to perform like he's performing right now, $9 million a year is nothing. But it's also added security to Michael Harris. He was only slotted to make, I say only, lightly, $700,000 a year the next 2 years, but now he just got a raise to $5 million per year the next 2 years. That's life-changing money. So it's guaranteed, that he's going to make good money even if he gets injured, whereas the Braves are taking a gamble that they think his performance is going to stay the same, or, even if it drops off a little bit, that they're going to have a good player for years to come. And it makes a lot of sense. I like the signing because even if his bat falls off some, he's still got a high floor because of his defense. And even if you were to pay a glove-first center fielder $9 million a year in Major League Baseball, that's still a good deal. So it looks like it's a win-win for both parties.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Sam Peebles. He is a contributor for Morning Shift Media. Follow them on Twitter, and you can also check out his articles on Fansided MLB. Mike Soroka looking sharp in his rehab start, striking out 8. What is the timeline looking like for Soroka?
I should also add that was 8 out of 9 batters, so that makes it even more impressive.
Yes, sir.
But that's really encouraging. He was saying that his sinker feels better than it ever has. However, to be fair, it's lower level competition, so you can't say for sure. But if he's saying he feels good, if he's striking out batters, it looks like he's going to be back for September, which is going to be crazy. If you can think about it, it's going to come to the point to where is he going to pitch well enough to where he makes the postseason roster? Because he's got to make the roster by the end of the month. He's got to make the roster by August 31st, or he won't be eligible. So it's going to be interesting to see how quick they can get him back.
Couple of pieces outside of the Braves I want to get into. Let's start with Albert Pujols on a tear as of late. Should he decide to stay retired, as this has been his retirement run, if you will, or come back and at least try to chase A-Rod?
That would be really fun. I think knowing the way that I won't say I know his personality, but based on what I've seen, I would say that he's probably going to stay retired. I don't foresee him coming back and chasing that, but who knows? Maybe he pulls a Tom Brady or something like that, or I don't know. It would be really cool to see. I'd love to be able to say I saw Albert Pujols hit home run number 700 would be awesome if I could really say that. But who knows? That's really tough to say. If I was to guess, I'd say that he's probably going to stay retired.
What's he, like 7 behind A-Rod? I just want him to catch A-Rod. That's really all I'd like to see him do, because I feel like, the negative things that go along with A-Rod and the steroids and all that stuff. There's never been a blemish with Albert Pujols. To have him ahead of A-Rod, I think would be huge for the history of baseball. Let's talk about some more black eyes on the game of baseball. The Fernando Tatis Jr. suspension. What does that mean for baseball when one of the biggest stars, when baseball has been trending upward because of all of these young stars, and now all of a sudden, 80-game suspension out of nowhere for Fernando Tatis Jr.? Give me your thoughts.
Yes, that is a massive hit on marketability for Major League Baseball. I was shocked to hear it, and it's really sad for the game. There's a lot of people saying, like, oh, well, MLB should have given him a better chance or blah, blah, blah. Well, if you look at the medicine he took, it says right on the box that those chemicals are used in it. So he doesn't really have an excuse. I'm not here to, like, argue one way or the other, but I would say that MLB would definitely make sure that what they're saying is accurate if they're going to put an 80-game suspension on one of their most marketable stars. It's not like they're seeking out marketability and getting rid of it. So it's really terrible for the game. It's terrible for the Padres. You hate to see it all around. I mean, everybody loves watching Fernando Tatis Jr. play baseball.
Let's see here. Should the Yankees start to panic, man? The injury bug seems to be hitting them. It seems to be hitting the Los Angeles Dodgers. How far away are they from hitting that panic button?
Well, I think they've got such a large cushion right now that I wouldn't be panicking. Now, what I would be panicking about, as far as making the playoffs, now one thing that you can say for sure, though, is their World Series probability is going down quite a bit. The Astros are looking really good, and they're trending up, and the Yankees are trending down. So I don't think they should panic per se, but I would, if I'm putting money on the Yankees to win the World Series, I'd probably stop doing that because I don't think it's going to happen.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line right now with Sam Peebles. Is there a team out there that is low-key catching fire and maybe turn into one of those teams like the Atlanta Braves did last year?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably, if I had to guess, probably just one of those teams like the Braves or maybe like the Nationals from years past is the Guardians, just because no one really talks about them. They play in a weak division. So if they could win their division and make it to the playoffs, they've got solid rotation pieces. They've got their middle-of-the-order bats are really solid. I mean, I'm not saying that they have a high probability to go far, but they could definitely be a dark horse candidate for sure.
If you were a player that was in the Padres locker room, how would you feel about one of your youngest superstars, going back to Fernando Tatis Jr.? How would you feel about him making that decision and not just the consequences affecting Tatis, but more or less affecting the Padres, especially after that terrific trade deadline?
Right, yes. I'd be extremely conflicted. I know that for a fact. Because I know, at least in my personality, I like to get to know my coworkers, my friends on a personal level. And I know that people make mistakes, you know? And so I'd want to be there for them. But at the same time, you're like, dude, you kind of messed up our chances, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot was riding on you to come back. Not only this year, but the fact that, you know, all the funding and stuff that went into making this trade deadline happen had a lot to do with depending on you coming back. And a lot of decisions that were made were based on that. So, yeah, I'd be really upset. Of course, you always want to be kind to everyone you can. I wouldn't be yelling at them or anything, but inside I'd probably be pretty upset.
What's been more impressive to this point of the season? This will be the last question I got for you, Sam. Justin Verlander and his dominance and on his way to possibly getting another Cy Young, or Albert Pujols not being that far away from 700 home runs?
I would say just the fact that someone in today's world with pitching and the way with power pitching and the injuries, not to mention that he's had the surgery already, has seen Justin Verlander come back and just be absolutely dominant like he has. You don't see that. I mean, we've been blessed with seeing guys like him and Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom and even Zach Greinke and guys like that have been superhuman in the fact of being able to continue to pitch at a high level as they get older. So we've been kind of blessed to see that, or kind of, oversaturated with seeing it, not realizing how special it is. But it really is insane that Justin Verlander at his age is still able to dominate like he is. I would go with Justin Verlander.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Sam Peebles. You can hear him on the Braves Dugout podcast. He also writes for Fansided, MLB, Tomahawk Take, Sports Talk ATL, and is a contributor for Morning Shift Media. Sam, as always, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Absolutely. Go Braves.
Go Braves. Chop on. Coming up next, we're going to keep it rolling with Fernando Tatis Jr. and what other value might have taken a hit. Todd Mueller coming up next with PCB Coins and Cards.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
How do you feel about the New York Football Giants headed into this season? Nuno.
I'm not confident. I've had internal talks with myself.
There is nothing that sums up Nuno better than him saying he's having internal conversations, and he's doing that by himself. We are undergoing internal conversations. Me, myself, and I.
Greeny, weekdays 2 to 4, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Isolated showers and thunderstorms this afternoon around the listening area. Partly sunny in the low 90s and the winds west-southwest 10 miles per hour. Water temperature in the Gulf 87. Showers and thunderstorms partly cloudy in the mid-70s overnight. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms Thursday into Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi? Totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned, today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
More Eagles. Coming this September, another year of live play-by-play with the Auburn Tigers. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You guys are listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're also on 102.1 FM in Marietta. We're on Facebook at ESPN Northwest Florida, YouTube at ESPN Northwest Florida, and Twitch at ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow, subscribe, and follow there. Get the ESPN Northwest Florida. We're also in Pensacola, Mobile area on Blab TV. If you don't have their channel through your TV service provider, then you can get it on your Fire Stick TV or your Roku TV. Just go to the channel search, BLAB TV. Now welcoming in to the studio with us, Todd Mueller with PCB Coins and Cards. Todd, how's the week been for you, my friend?
Everything's been going great, guys. Appreciate you having me here again. I'm excited to be here today. It's a great Wednesday. Things have been going great. We've been busy. The funny thing is Wednesdays happen to be our busiest days. We kind of figured that out lately. Been running the numbers and figuring things out, and pretty excited about that. And to cap it off, I get to come here and talk to you guys.
Are Wednesdays the busiest days because Brian comes in normally on Wednesdays?
It could be. It could be. They probably like Brian better than me at this point. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I mean, it's been great, and Brian has been helping a lot. If anybody doesn't know, Brian's here at the radio station with us, and he helps out all the time. And he comes to the shop and helps out as well. And he's been a great asset to us. It's nice having somebody my age. Because all I know is a bunch of kids.
Yeah, you got a young crew over there.
My daughter's there now. She's 17. We've got another couple 17-year-olds that help us out, do sorting and stuff like that, and are very smart.
Right, but that's it, Todd. These guys are the age we were when we started.
Correct,
so.
right, exactly. So they know. I mean, they're all whiz bang. They know how to do everything.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Bill and myself are there, as well as his son. Ethan, by the way, I'll give a shout out, has been doing a fantastic job at our Pokemon and Magic section. So that's TCG's, trading card games, and he's the one that helps everybody. He's a master at that stuff. So anyways, but everything's been going good. Some big news in the industry, of course. Tatis. Yes, so that's affecting baseball right now. So I'll just do a quick rundown of what I know. He popped positive for, I believe it's cholesterol.
Yeah,
cholesterol.
Yep.
He supposedly
high cholesterol. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Well, I wish that's all he popped positive for.
Right.
Apparently, he used some sort of topical on a problem on his neck, and it had cholesterol in it, and he popped positive for that, which is a performance-enhancing drug, as per the MLB states. So anyway, so he got suspended for 80 games, and in doing so, he will not be able to help the Padres if and when they make it to the playoffs. And of course, they just acquired Juan Soto, which is fantastic. That was great news last week. Very cool. His cards went up, helped the card market a lot. People were excited. Of course, national fans were not excited.
Sure.
However, in fact, it was funny. A guy came in, quick story. A guy came in and he had a Nationals jersey on, and I said, "Hey, how's that jersey feel right now?" And he's like, "I hate both the Nationals and Juan Soto now."
He needs to get a dash after the O on Soto and get less after that.
Yes.
Soto less.
Exactly. So anyways, so Tatis has hurt the market pretty good, and that's a bad thing. They are projecting that it's going to cost investors almost $100 million in card market value going down because of this stunt he pulled. So not good. Plus, of course, Fernando Tatis Sr. is coming out and saying that millions of people are going to stop watching baseball and all that stuff. Now, I don't believe any of that. Everyone's still going to watch baseball. Everyone's going to be super excited.
He hasn't played all year.
He hasn't played all year anyways. Right, exactly. So, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's not going to change anything as to what's going on in the market now. What is changing is the value in his cards. And look, I can personally attest to this. I just sent off a group of cards to get graded, let's say 3 weeks ago. And I had a beautiful Bowman's Best green refractor rookie of Tatis autograph. $1,000 card easy. Getting it graded, maybe $1,500 card. If that gets graded a 10, I'm probably sitting on a $300-400 card now because his value right now. Now, does that not mean that he can come back?
Yep.
He can come back and he can make it right and things like that. But the thing that I want to stress to everybody, and one of the reasons I want to talk about this is not for Tatis' sake, because Tatis is getting every bit of promotion out of this that there is.
Yep.
I don't really care about that.
Right.
What I actually care about is that should show the collector what you should be collecting and why you should be collecting. And the old guys is where it's at. And Brian, I think, will agree with me because Brian has started to set his sights a little bit on what should I really be collecting. And I'm trying to teach him, even though he does know, I'm trying to teach him that it's the old guys. And the reason why you buy the old guys is because they're dead and gone, and they're not going to screw it up.
That's right.
I mean, let's call it what it is.
It's hard to make mistakes when you're 6 feet under.
6 feet under.
Yeah. And the ones who are older are only going to get you if they start driving down the highway in a white Bronco.
Correct.
Then you worry
Exactly.
about them, so.
Right.
But you know, the interesting thing about Tatis, obviously young star, he's got a long career ahead of him. And this is where the prospecting comes in.
Correct.
This is where the guys play the market. So obviously his value's dropped off a cliff.
Yes.
So theoretically, this could be a good time to buy. But what your or it will be when it bottoms out. You're prospecting now on does this stink attach itself to Tatis long term, or will this be a blip? That's going to be the $1 million, literally the $1 million question.
Here's the problem, and here's what I see. Because look, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Roger Clemens, their rookie cards are $1, $2, $3 a piece, $4 a piece. If you get a nice graded one, they can go upwards of $40 and $50. But the fact of the matter is you could sit there and say, well, it's all because of steroids. To be honest with you, I think it has nothing to do with that.
Well, theirs is when they came out.
I think it has to do with there's a gazillion of them out there.
That's right.
I think that's all it is. If they were limited to how much Tatis's cards were limited to, I think that they would be just as successful and just as good of cards to collect as Tatis would be today. And so I think that we really shouldn't worry about the long-term effects because I don't think the long-term is really there. I think it's the short-term that collectors are going to get scared. They're going to dump their Tatis stuff, which is good for me because I'll be buying.
Yeah.
And I'll buy as much of it as possible. And he'll come back, and he'll be a superstar still, and everything will be great with it, and his values will come back up. But in the long-term, long-term play, he's good unless he does something, super stupid.
Yeah. Well, this isn't his first. This isn't his first. It's his first suspension, but there's been motorcycle accidents, not taking care of your body, and
his wrist. He had to have surgery on it.
Yeah, and then the subluxation or the dislocation of his shoulder.
Yeah. Right.
So the injury problems is there, but still he's so enigmatic. He's such a star that sometimes that just gets lost in the sauce. Let's talk about another guy. Do you have anything? I want you to get in out of your segment what you want to get in. So is there anything else?
You guys don't have to worry about my segment. I'll take everybody else's segment. I just wanted to stress and make sure that everybody understood because I have another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about memorabilia a little bit today.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stress that there's nothing wrong with investing in the older guys because you do not have these type of problems when you invest in the older guys because they're done. They're done. They're out of baseball. They're probably not going to ruin anything. They're gone, dead and gone. And it just is what it is, and it's a better investment.
It's blue chip stocks versus tech stocks.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, are they going to go up, crazily? Well, just mark it as Amazon, mark it as Apple. They just go up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go up necessarily crazy. They just go up.
Right.
And they're a good hold. They're a good hold for a very long time. And that's what I look at old sports cards as. Now, as far as you prospectors out there and people like that, my recommendation is don't dump Tatis. Keep your Tatis cards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the value's not there right this second because he dipped. But in the end, they'll come back. And if you want to throw some money at something, throw it at Soto because Soto's hot.
Mm-hmm.
He's hot right now. So anyways, that's enough about that. I just wanted everybody to know that it is going to affect the card market in the short term. In the long term, I don't think so. I think we're fine. So what I wanted to go on to next, if we have a little bit of time, is I wanted to talk about memorabilia. Brian and I had a discussion about that, and it's interesting because in my shop, I don't actually sell a lot of memorabilia. The funny thing is I buy a lot of it.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of it because a lot of people bring it in. And that's interesting. But what I wanted to talk about is I get called about memorabilia all the time. And so I wanted to put it out there for all you listeners to understand when you call, that is wonderful, and we appreciate that. But you got to have a certificate of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the market is driven off of, is having those COAs. So the two biggest ones are PSA and JSA.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a third, Beckett. Beckett's fine too. Those three are your top tier certification companies. You need to pay attention to those. You need to get your stuff certified. If you really want to get the money that you deserve out of your memorabilia, you need to get them authenticated. And that's just all there is to it. And so I try to explain that to everybody who calls, is that authentication means everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will buy things that are not authenticated because I know what I'm looking at.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it's just not going to be as much money. And so I want everybody to be clear on that. If you're trying to get the most money out of your product, do your homework and get it certified. Certified's the way to go. So
when it comes to certification, what's the difference in price points? I'm sure that it varies when it comes to memorabilia compared to sports cards.
Here's a prime example. So you bring a Mickey Mantle ball to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring a baseball, it's got Mickey Mantle scribbled on it. First of all, I'm going to look pretty closely at that ball and figure out, is it really a real signature?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, is it really his signature?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at telling. I've had many Mickey Mantles over the years. I can pretty much tell you whether it's probably real or not. If you do not have a COA, I'm probably going to offer you $100 for that ball.
Mm-hmm.
You can go online all day long, and people will have $100, $150, $200 balls out there on eBay that sit there and like, we think it's real. My dad had it signed, but we don't have a certificate of authenticity. That's just what they go for.
Right.
You have the certificate, you minimum have a $500 ball.
Yep.
Minimum.
And then you
So
had
it goes up
Honus
that
Wagner
much.
go for what, $7 million the other day?
So again, you talk about certain things, and it's interesting. Now, the coolest thing was I got to meet a really nice, special gentleman that came in my shop the other night. And I say the other night because we stayed late, and he came over, and he brought a box of cards. And he only had 4 Topps cards in there. There were 254 Hank Aaron rookies and 254 Jackie Robinson, all graded. All graded. He sold them to me. I bought them. And I paid strong for them because they were Hank Aaron rookies.
Right.
You don't see that every day.
He can't make any more mistakes.
Yeah. No. He can't make any more mistakes, number one. Number two, it was fun holding the 15 Ty Cobbs the guy had.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Why wasn't I there then?
I know. And it's funny because you just missed the guy.
Oh, you're killing me.
It was the day you were there.
Oh, you're
I think
killing
it was Monday, and you had just missed the guy. And he had a box of $250,000 in sports cards. Obviously, we won't say his name. Obviously, we won't say where he's from or any of that type of stuff.
But if you can give an
I got his
address,
information.
that would work.
but I have his information. Good guy, fun to talk to.
Oh, I'd love to see this.
And it was amazing stuff to see, and that wasn't his good stuff.
Yeah.
So, to tell you, there's a lot of great inventory out there, guys. A lot of great memorabilia. A lot of cool stuff. Do your homework. Get your certifications. Get your stuff graded. Do what you need to do to make the stuff more valuable.
Right.
And that's
Small
what the
price
market's
to
about.
pay
Small price to pay to get the value out of what you're doing. And so I will say this, if you have memorabilia, please bring it in. We're very interested in all memorabilia. We have people who are looking for that stuff, who we can move it to and stuff like that. And we're interested in neat pieces, too, to put on the wall.
Yeah.
To have something cool to show. I just the other day got a Chipper Jones autographed jersey, and I got a Dale Murphy autographed jersey as well. And that was cool. We put that on the wall. It's not for sale.
Yeah.
And it's not for sale, not because it's rare, really. It's not for sale because it looks cool in the shop.
Yeah.
We want it to be cool. We want to look cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we will keep some of the pieces and put them on the wall, and the memorabilia is fun. So bring it in. Don't be scared. Just want to put it out there. But we are looking for stuff with certifications because that will help the value of us buying it from you.
No, he says it's not for sale. He's just trying to drive up the price
Everything's got a
because he knows I look at it every time I come in.
He looks at the Dale Murphy every time.
I got about 2 minutes here, Todd. Talk about the event coming up here in Daphne, if you're still looking for help, and also how people can find out more about the promotion in store.
3 quick things. So we have our card show in Daphne, Alabama, August 27th. It's a Saturday. It's from 9 to 6. 9 to 6 in Daphne, Alabama. Show up. Bring your cards. Bring your memorabilia. Bring whatever you've got. We buy, sell, trade. Everyone's going to be there. We've sold 65-plus tables already. It's going to be a really good show, and there's going to be a lot of people there, and it's free admission. There's going to be food trucks there. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be cool. So show up for that. We still have our in-store promotion going on for August. Come in and ask us about that, please. We will tell you all about it, and it's a lot of fun. And then last but not least, we are still looking to hire somebody to do shipping of items, and also to do eBay, and we will teach anything that you need to learn. So
and
you do not have to have experience.
A great flow, a great process to make all of those things happen.
100%.
It's so easy. A hatted could do it.
I don't know. I haven't graduated to that part yet. But yeah.
Anyway, so that's what's going on at the shop. That's what we got going on, and so hopefully you guys will come by and see us, and we have had some applications, and we're excited about that. We've talked to a few people, and we're still on the search.
I love it, man. That is Todd Mueller with PCB Coins and Cards. Coming up next, we're going to be finding out some more about the preview of what teams did we leave off with last week? Was it Bozeman and Mosley?
We didn't do Mosley.
I know we did.
Bozeman, and we just started North Bay Haven, so we just finished up.
All right, so we're going to finish up with what we got, and maybe a surprise call today at 5:45. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be back in a few.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
No weapons.
Yeah.
This is a physical confrontation.
And coming in at number 14 is Mike Leach. Okay, now he might talk you to death, but I don't know. Number 13 is Brian Kelly. Now Kelly's about 70 years old.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, based on his dancing ability, he ain't getting out of the way of too many punches.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Wow, what a brain! No, I'm not talking about the class valedictorian or the scarecrow after he reached Oz. This brain's inside your car. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Einstein's got nothing on your car's ECM or electronic control module. Like human brains, ECMs gather data from the environment and make adjustments to optimize performance. For example, this onboard computer adapts fuel delivery, seat positions, cabin temperature, braking, and emissions. It also alerts you to potential problems and notifies you for service. Like all brains, your ECM's sensitive to environmental abuse. So follow the Scarecrow's lead. Take your ECM for scheduled service to the Oz Service Center of your choice. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Number of rings since 1987. Dallas Cowboys 0. J-Lo 5. Just saying. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Last week we were doing a high school football preview with Coach Andy Siegel, and we're going to let him keep on rolling with it. We were on North Bay Haven last week. We still got Mosley and Bozeman to cover. We definitely got to get into Mosley today.
Absolutely.
Or I might just have to have you back tomorrow. We'll figure it out.
Whatever means necessary. That's what they say. Well, to finish off North Bay Haven, again, John Pate came over from Hilliard High School. It's in his first year. They've got quite a few offensive returners. They're a young football team, but they do got a lot of offensive returners. Starting off with Willie Halley at running back, wide receiver, and linebacker. Started last year. Got hurt trying to run one in, I think, versus Freeport. And I will tell him, I told him to run it outside, and he ran it inside. But
come on, listen to your coaches, youngins.
It'd have been 6 if he went outside, but he decided to go inside. Lakota Johnson's a heck of a quarterback. One of those guys you just can't catch. Like I think I said last week, you put him in a phone booth, you're not going to catch him. But he started last year at receiver. He's moving to quarterback. Quante Spencer, another one of the speed merchants they've got over there, kick and flat run. Started for us last year at receiver. Colton Kirkland's another. He's a little bowling ball now. You just can't, he's about 5'5", about 5'5" wide, 5'5" high. Just a little Tasmanian devil fella. And he started a linebacker last year, got injured, so he only started 3/4 of the season. But I'll tell you what, he's one of those guys that he kind of leads the team. He's a motivator, and he's just a hard-nosed, always smiling, loves contact guy. Then, of course, J.J. Robideau started on the offensive line last year. Cam De Niro started on the D-line. He's moving to do both next year. And, the big guy probably that you want to talk about over there is Logan Mccallister. He's their Division I recruit. He's 6'4", 255 pounds. He's got like a 3'8", 3'9" gray point. Can bench the building, squat the stadium, and power clean a car. So, I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
It's like John Cena in a wrestling ring, huh?
He looks like John Cena. If John Cena was 6'4", he'd be John Cena. The American dream, baby. And he's not Dusty Rhodes, though. I'm Dusty Rhodes. Then you got Gabe Reno, had 119 tackles last year at linebacker. And then some newcomers to take a look at. They've got a young man named Braden Harper who came up from South Florida somewhere as a new player for them, and they're pretty high on him. My guy, E-Man Spurlock, another Tasmanian devil. He says he's 6 foot, and of course so do I, so we know where that ended. But he's about 250 pounds and can come off the ball and rock you. And then Jacob Bosa. So they got some really good young players. Of course, they got a transfer, Logan Bolster, wide receiver from Bozeman. So, they've got some good guys. They got some kid playing safety named Barrett. I don't know what he is, so we don't talk about him. But anyways, their district is Bay, South Walton, and Rutherford. And then the non-district games are Holmes County, Graceville, Cottondale, Arnold, Vernon, Franklin County, and Destin. What a unique thing here, and this kind of brings up something, is their non-district schedule. Those guys were a combined 4-32 last year. Destin's a new school, but don't look past Destin, because I'm telling everybody, E.J. Green, the old Seminoles, coaching over there, he didn't take that job for no reason. So that's a team to look out for. And let's get over from one Bucks. Let's go to the other Bucks.
All right.
So we go to the Bozeman Bucks. One of our better teams we've had year in and year out lately. Jason Griffin does a great job over there. 6-5 went to the playoffs. And they've probably got the most experienced throwing quarterback in the county with Peyton Gay. He threw for 1,394 yards last year, 14 touchdowns. And it really does remind me, not being funny because he's a short guy, but it reminds me of Flutie a little bit because the guy can run, can sling it. He's got a good arm. He's a leader like Doug Flutie. So, I mean, I really do. I remind him of Doug Flutie. He's very Doug Flutie-ish, if that's English.
Well, I bet
it's not. It isn't.
It's English enough for the Afternoon Underdogs.
Then I'll take it. And he's going to throw to Colton G. Colton caught 17 balls for 244 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. He's a returning wideout. They got 2 more wideouts that are pretty high on Brent Anderson and Braden Baker. So now you got the passing game taken care of. Of course, there's an old saying, you can't throw if you're laying on your what? Your back, right?
Right.
Well, they got I know Mosley's got a great line, which we're going to talk about in a second. Bay High's got a great line. I think these guys got a great offensive line, too. It starts with 4 returning starters, and actually a 5th because they have a transfer who started somewhere else. So DJ Moore is back after being injured last year. Big 6'5", 300-pounder, can protect the blind side. Then you got Austin Comer, another big cat playing center. You got Trevin Sweet, who started last year. You got Ethan Sorensen, who started last year. And you got Jesse Gentick. All those guys started last year. Then you have transfer from North Bay Haven, Brandon Burnham, who was a 2-year starter. So you've got a lot of starters on that offensive line. There ain't but 5 spots, so somebody's going to got to do something. Then Will King's returning starter on defensive line with 48 tackles. They've got a running back, Trey Luna, and they've got a linebacker, Trevor Oswald. So they've got some guys over there that are going to be tough. Their strength is going to be their offensive line and their passing game. The big question mark they got over there right now is probably their pass covering, which you think you see it every day in practice. You're probably going to be pretty good at it. So I suspect they're a little bit better than they're leading on to. But they got Mason Schuler, Colin Miller, Colton G. They have a defensive backfield. I'll bet that we'll see Peyton Gay back there too because he's just such a tremendous athlete. So, that's a football team I see going pretty far in the playoffs this year. And we'll take a look at their schedule. They're going to open up with Geneva, Alabama. Then they're going to have Liberty County, Baker. That ain't no easy one right there.
Never an easy one.
Why don't you just schedule the Dallas Cowboys while you're at
right.
it? Weewa Hitchka.
I think we could have a better team than the Cowboys.
That's true. I might take Baker over the Cowboys. Freeport, who's a playoff caliber team. Port St. Joe, which is a legendary team. Chipley and Rutherford. I mean, there ain't no easy outs right there.
Nah.
So it's not going to be easy for the Bozeman Bucks. And then we'll get to the world champions.
the world champions.
Yeah, that's what I'm declaring.
I like it. I like
find
it.
My sheet here. Okay, Tommy Joe Whidden and the Mosley Dolphins. Now, first of all, I will come out and say this. This Dolphins will have a better season than the other Dolphins. So we'll start off with
we'll
that.
have to see about that, though.
I'm telling you, these guys ain't got no weaknesses.
Well, I'll take that. I'll take that.
They're okay. The Miami Dolphins might have an experienced quarterback where Tommy Joe's breaking a new one in, and that's the only place they got a chink in their armor. Mosley was 11-2 last year, 6A regional finalist. lost to Gadsden County in the regular season, really an upset and a rough week they had. A young man had passed away, so I don't really think a game of football was the most important thing in their minds that week. So I'm counting that as that didn't count. Then they lost to Pine Forest in a rough one, who went on to lose in the finals. So I mean, 11-2, come on now. And then they didn't graduate a whole lot of guys. So let's just start off with their offensive line. They returned 4 starters on their offensive line.
Goodness gracious.
And then, so they only have 4. That means there's one spot open. Well, they just got Bayhigh starting left tackle, who's all county, who just came in, who's massive.
As a coach, how do you feel about the school of choice?
Oh, I can actually answer that.
Yes, you can.
I can't wait for this.
I'm not a fan. If you work and you develop players, and then all of a sudden, because you got on their butt to run an extra sprint or finish running through the line and they don't do it, then I'll just go over here and take my toys with me. Then what are you teaching a kid in life? That when you don't do your job at work, you're just going to take your toys and leave and walk out? Because that's the kind of people we're going to develop if we keep this up. But, hey, you know what? It's easy for me to say because I'm sitting here, and I'm not going to lie to you. If a 6'7", 330-pound kid walked into my office at North Bay Haven and said, I want to come in there and play, come on, brother. Now, the problem is we couldn't get him in because we had a wait list. So I was handcuffed as it was. So that's
when he says wait list, it's wait with an A, not with an E.
Oh, no, there was a WEIGHT list, too. If you weren't 300 bells, you couldn't come in my office. You better be bringing some barbecue or steak or something to come in my office, and you're under 300. But, here's some of the guys we want to look at. Obviously, we'll start off with Randy Pittman. He's a Florida State commit. He's a 3-4 star
Actually, I
athlete.
think he decommitted from there and is going to no, I'm serious. October 8th, though, when Texas A&M and Alabama meet is when he's going to be announcing his commitment. So,
hey, he is going somewhere major. Yes, he is. I will tell you that. I can tell you it's not going to be McPherson College, Kansas. So we'll find out where it is. But this kid's first of all, he's a good young man.
Yeah.
Good football player, can play about 13 different positions. So I've got him written down as an athlete. I know they got him down at tight end, fullback, D-line, but I wrote athlete. So he's a commit somewhere.
He will be going somewhere.
Somewhere. Now, here's the big deal. They've got a quarterback controversy going. They got a senior, Trey Coker. They got a sophomore, Sam Freitas, both talented guys. I think they're just going to let it play out and see how that goes. I mean, great football players. Got a solid running back in C.J. China. So now we got the running game taken care of. You got a quarterback. But if you got a quarterback, you got to have someone to throw to. So you got Cree Ross. Cree Ross, I'll tell you what, you throw him a hitch and blink your eye and he's in the end zone doing a dance. I mean, that cat is fast.
Doing a dance.
You talk about the cheetah Tyreek Hill. This guy's faster than a cheetah.
Oh, here we go.
So this guy's a black mamba cheetah. I mean, I don't even know what that is, but he's that fast.
It's like a liger. He's like
Tigger the Tiger. Bing, bing, boom, he's gone. All right, that cat can go, but the problem is if you try to double him up, Austin Carter on the other side is going to make you pay for it. Of course, then you try to double him up, and then Lawson Messer makes you pay for it. So they got so many weapons at wide receiver that what do? Okay, so you bracket them running some palms coverage, which is where you take your safeties and read the routes, and if they run inside, the safety jumps them. They run outside, the corner jumps them. Okay, not a bad idea, except for Randy Pittman's at tight end is going to make your linebacker pay for that. So no matter what you take, you're in trouble. He'll bust you in the middle. So then you widen your linebackers and say, okay, I've got this. Well, then C.J. Chima is going to get you by running the football in the inside zone. No matter what you do, you got a problem. Then what you think is, okay, I will get my offense to slow down and not let their offense on the field. Good idea. Wrong, because their defense is off the chain. I'm looking here at Marshall Dixon at D-end, quarterback killer. D'Angelo Gates, quarterback killer. Corner Isaac Paul, one of the best corners in the state
I'm
of Florida.
excited about watching him.
You can lock him down in the aisle and let everyone else play football, and he'll just play one-on-one. It's like Michael Jordan against whoever. It doesn't matter. He wins. And that guy's just a playing jack. Then they got the second coming of a midget Dick Butkus, Jabari Reed. I mean, that guy's a hitter with a capital H. He's going to light your head off. And then you got Amaldo De Oliveira, defensive tackle. He's just a little guy. He's like 6'4", 290.
Yeah,
just a little cat. And then the other corner, so you say, okay, I'm not going to throw over at that side. I'm going to stay away from him. Then I'm going to throw at Cameron Keys, who's a Division I prospect. Where do you throw?
FAMU's looking at him. I'm also hearing he's getting some offers from, like you said, at the D1 level as well.
Up.
So you either go Paul, you go Keys. Either way, there's no keys to the defense.
So my question is to you. So if you can't throw it on them because of all that pass coverage, so you're going to run the football on those giant D linemen and linebackers, your best bet is to punt out of bounds and just pray for them to turn the ball over or something. That's your only chance. And then let's see who their victims are going to be this year. 'Cause I'm not going to talk about schedule. I'm talking about victims. So victim number one, and I love Lauren Tillman. He's my guy. Hey, Rutherford's not winning that game.
Well, they don't have a lot of players either to play with tonight.
If they took everybody else's players in town, they're still not winning that game. Okay, and I love Tillman.
So
You're
I need
not
to come
winning
up with
that game,
a lot
brother.
of. I need to come up with a lot of background information for that game.
It's going to be JV in there quick. And it's a kickoff classic. And then you got Delaware Valley, Pennsylvania. Well, hey, Pennsylvania folks, be careful what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted sunshine and you wanted Disney. You got that, but you're about to get destroyed by the Mosley Dolphins. I mean, a 50-point thrashing, because this ain't Pennsylvania. We ain't playing in the mud. We're not this isn't Everybody's All-American, whatever that Tom Cruise movie is, when he plays for Am Pipe and he runs down the middle.
That's the only Tom Cruise movie I know, Top Gun.
Coach knows what I'm talking about, that old movie. But guess what? We ain't working in the coal mine. They're going to get killed. Then you got Bay High School, going to be a tremendous game. I mean, there might be 10,000 people at this ball game.
I'm excited
I
for
mean,
that
it's going to be the old school, like when Bay was number 1 and 2 in the state in Rutherford.
And they got a great athletic director over there as well.
I mean, you got a legendary athletic director that's going to be wrestling in one of those midget shows here pretty quick. And I'm going to be his manager walking them out.
Oh, there you go.
So, because not exactly like I'm no Stretch Armstrong either. But Bay High School is going to be a tremendous game, and that's going to be one that you want to buy a ticket to. Go buy a ticket to that one.
Mm-hmm. Or listen on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You can sit at home and listen to it, or you can sit in the stands and listen to it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a lot of that.
So then you got Arnold High School, which is going to be a tough one. Leon High School. I mean, you play those Tallahassee schools. Yeah. Woo! But it's home. They got to come into Bay County. So all right. Then you go to Wakulla, who's a football factory. Then you go to Childs, another tough one. Then you go home versus Navarre. Home versus Crestview, just went through a coaching change. My guy Tim Hatton had to go out and do more fishing, couldn't do more football. Then you got to go at Niceville. I mean, oh my God, you want to talk about a game day environment? Woo!
I'm really excited about that one. Mosley Niceville is going to be tough.
But then you think, okay, last game of the year, it's going to lighten up. No, it isn't. You got Choctaw.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be a tough road, but I don't think anybody can beat them. And, I mean, I'm talking about your Miami Northwesterns, your Miami Jacksons. I don't think they can beat them this year.
Let's go.
I don't think they can beat Venice, and I'm going to come out and say that. Right. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I was the head football coach there. But Venice beat IMG.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different animal.
And talk about football factories. IMG's a football factory.
Mm-hmm. And so be Venice.
And so be Venice.
But I think Mosley's going to make a run deep into the state championship. And, then you never know which way a ball's going to bounce. I mean, I saw Southeast play Ocala Vanguard with Peter Warwick at one quarterback, Dante Culpepper at the other. That thing went to 4 overtimes. So I'm telling you, Mosley's going to be an awesome team to watch. Top to bottom, that's the one to watch.
And you can also hear it right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You can follow the Mosley Dolphins and Coach Tommy Joe Whidden live play-by-play with myself and Kyle Wright. Kicking it off this Friday, August 19th, Dolphins versus the home team, the Rutherford Rams at Tommy Oliver Stadium. Kickoff at 7, and our radio coverage will start at 6:30. Brought to you by Southern Orthopedic Specialist, Panama City Toyota, Tavario Solutions, Gulf Coast Aquarium, Barbaritos, and ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout. We're only going to have about 4 minutes when we get back. Stick with us right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins.
We are going under the lights this Friday night. It's Mosley versus Rutherford. Coverage starts at 6:30. Kickoff at 7. Mosley Dolphins football is sponsored by Southern Orthopedic Specialists, Panama City Toyota, Tavario, HBCQ Spark App, Barbaritos Southwestern Grill and Cantina, and Gulf Coast Aquarium, your authorized CChem dealer on ESPN Northwest Florida. That boot store is having a big sale on select clothing, including shirts, jeans, jean shorts, jackets, ball caps, and coats. You know a sale at that boot store is something special. So don't miss out. That boot store, next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street in Panama City. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your heart. That boot store.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you can't take the heat,
if the Braves don't do something now, there won't be a playoff.
stay out of the kitchen. Uncompromising sports talk lives here. Now back to the Rip Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. We don't have a lot of time, but we have a great... I'm sorry, I know that this is a great song, but we've got a great guest on the line with us. We got, we got Elvis, but we've got someone who's the next great upcoming wrestler here out of Bay County. Well, she's not even up and coming anymore. She's there. We got Val Solorio on the line with us. Coach Siegel, you want to break this down for us, what we've got going on?
Val, why don't you just tell them? I mean, you know, Val's the Ric Flair of girls wrestling, so let them know.
I love it.
I mean, not much, just kind of training, doing what I do. And I get a call from Flow Wrestling, which is kind of like a smaller ESPN of wrestling for high school, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And I get the call, and they're like, will you do who's number one for us at 100 pounds? I was like, of course I'll do who's number one. I didn't even think I'd be able to be picked or even, considered, being that I was injured, couldn't compete all summer, all of that. And they called me and they offered me the spot, and I just couldn't turn it down.
That would be a very tough thing to turn down.
I mean, who's number one is basically, and Val's being shy, which is okay, Val. You know I'm not. She's just they're fighting for who's the number one girl wrestler in the nation.
Wow. And
it's either gonna be Val over Coach Gomez's daughter. We'll just leave it like that. How about that?
Hey Val, how are you dealing with the injury?
Well, I'm no stranger to injury. I've had my fair share. It's kind of a thing at this point to where it's just I never feel like I'm going to be 100%, so I don't prepare to be 100%. I prepare to go in there and do what I can do at whatever state I'm at the moment.
I know I bragged on you.
As of right now, I just kind of train however I can. If something bothers my hand, I avoid that and go on to something else and just kind of try to work around injury instead of through it.
Oh, wow.
I'm writing this down, by the way. This is life lessons I wish I knew before I turned 47 years old.
I was bragging on her. The last time she was in segment or in the studio with us, I was like, where your head is at right now at your age, you've got big things ahead of you. Val, we've got to let you go for today, but next Wednesday, we'll get her back on the line, talk a little bit more, and kind of put a focus and promote what you've got coming up here in the very near future. Val Solorio, ladies and gentlemen, top wrestler here in Bay County. Thanks so much, Val.
The nation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Bay County, in the nation. I'll get all of those details correct. We'll have her back on the show with us next Wednesday. Coach James Hale Show live at 7 a.m. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon. David Hayes, Brian Haddad, Coach Andy Siegel, Miles Nasty-Lashley on the board. Braves coming up next. Max Scherzer versus Jake Odorizzi.
About your past.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
The Browns are already paying Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, and part of Baker Mayfield's contract, and now you're going to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, you're on the clock because by the end of this month, you have to make the decision whether you're going to keep him, and then you guarantee his contract.
The Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous